Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. Mataji, can you continue that the Prabhupada this one?
Jai Jai Prabhupada.
Yeah, Mataji. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम.
Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai. Thank you, Vipa Mataji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Pranams. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dhanat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So, welcome you all devotees on this auspicious month of Purushottama. And we're reciting the wonderful shlokas from Shrimad Bhagavatam. It's so glorious that, during Purushottama month, we are doing this seva. So, thank you all, the organizers, for having given me this opportunity so that it purifies me. And also it encourages so many other new devotees. Thank you so much, Mataji. So before we begin, we'll do the Mangalacharan and we start with the shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavarti Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Parshithaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapata Swamiti Namini Namacharya Padaya Nitarapapadane Gauragatamudaya. Hare Krishna. I hope my audio is audible to everyone and my.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So today we are going to recite from the shloka from the third canto, second chapter, 29th words onwards up till 34. So let me share the screen and then we can get on with it. So what I'm going to do is while I read the shloka, I'll be calling out names, and then after I recite the shloka, I'll call out the names, then you can repeat after me. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Sa eva godhanam lakshmiya Niketam Sita Govrasham Charayan Anugan Gopan Ranat Venur Ari Ramat. Can I request Shobha Mataji to recite this shloka?
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Hari Bol. Sayeva Gotharam Lakshmyam Niketam Sita Govrasam Charayan Anugan Gopan Rannat Venur Ari Ramat. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Can I request Shanti Mataji to read out the translation for us?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Purport also, Prabhu?
No, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So here we have some. If you all don't mind, can I just take this phone call? I have some important phone call. Is that okay? Just 1 minute, it'll take.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Yeah. So this describes the Lord's activity, that how the Lord used to take care of the cows. One. Then it also describes the most beautiful flute that the Lord has, so which we will also discuss as we go along. And then in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that as per the Vedic economics, and this is very important for us to understand, one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. Yeah. So this is the perspective from a spiritual view. Yeah. This is not a perspective from a material view. The perspective of material view would be entirely different. Yeah. Generally, what is the barometer for calling someone rich? Yeah. When someone has a lot of money, yeah, good position, a lot of assets, yeah, probably it could be in terms of some owning of some big, huge land, industry, a lot of people working for them. So those signifies that, that person is very rich. But here, Prabhupada doesn't mention that. Prabhupada very clearly states that one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. So if someone has a cow in their house, yeah, and they have sufficient grains, that is more than sufficient, because ultimately, yeah, the objective should be simple living and high thinking. That is what Prabhupada used to always emphasize on. So we should be striving for simple living and high thinking, yeah, not the other way around. So with only these two things, which is cows and grains, yeah, humanity can solve its eating problem. So with the grains, human can solve the eating problem, and with the milk that cow provides, even that can also solve the eating problem. So human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cow to solve its economic problem. But the issue is the greed comes in, yeah, because we need to have more and more. So if we keep demanding for more, so obviously, one cannot depend on cow, one cannot depend on grains, yeah, because one doesn't believe in simple living and high thinking. Yeah? So people generally believe in high living and very, very, not even simple, but very low thinking. So when that comes in, then there is a disturbance in the entire society. When there is disturbance, then what happens? No one is at peace. Yeah. Then there will be a lot of klesha, a lot of fight will happen. So we see in a day-to-day life, yeah. So sometimes two people fight among themselves. If not two people, then two family. If not two family, then two states. If not two states, then two nation. And that's how it boils down to the world war. Then ultimately, everyone dies. Why? Ultimately, it's all about greed, because I'm not happy with what I have. I want to snatch what you have, because of the greed that creeps into our mind. And then it percolates. Yeah, it percolates right from the kingly person until the person who is at a very low rung of life. So this is the problem, because we don't believe in simple living and high thinking. So Prabhupada mentioned that all other things but these two are artificial necessity. Yeah. So like because of the greed that we have cultivated, so we keep demanding more and more material opulences. Because we need more material opulence, we need more material things. So obviously what happens? The man would strive, work hard like a donkey to achieve all the desires which are actually not required. So Prabhupada mentioned that the artificial necessity is created by a man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Yeah. For example, if someone is striving so hard, yeah, to I remember people, especially in India, yeah, their only dream is to have one bedroom apartment, two bedroom apartment. So people who stay in a very small house, they aim for a bigger house. And who stays in a medium house, you would aim for a even much bigger house. And then it keeps on going, and then he would keep working very hard to achieve that. But is there an end? There is not an end. So, but if we see our Vedic system, it was entirely different. People were self-sufficient. Every house would have a cow, and one cow or few cows and bulls. What the cow will do? The cow will provide the milk. And with the milk, the children of the house, the householders, their food requirements are taken care. The bulls, they will till the land, and with that the grains are being produced. So with the grains, so sufficiently food is being fed. In fact, they said that during the Vedic times, or just before, the Britishers actually took over, the so-called India or the Bharatvarsh. So the land of Bharat, I would say. So before they actually had plans to take over this tract of land, so the person, the viceroy of British, he took the entire tour of this land. He was so amazed by the lifestyle of the people, and he was so amazed that there was no poverty at all. So he was thinking that if we have to come and rule over these people, their roots are so strong, their civilization is so strong, their faith is so strong. How are we going to disturb? Because unless and until we don't make them dependent on us, we will not be able to conquer them. So if we have to conquer them, we have to find out what is that string which is holding them together. So when he did the entire tour, he finally realized there is one string which is holding them together. That is the Vedic civilization. And that Vedic civilization is totally dependent on the cow. So what they did, they opened a slaughterhouse. So that was the first thing what they did. So they started slaughtering the cows left, right, and center. So when the cows was getting slaughtered, so obviously people then started depending on the industries. Yeah, because the East India Company came, they set up the industry, then the entire population started depending on this industry. So ultimately, the objective of the Britishers, of the way they wanted to conquer, finally it took place. So what they did, they just took away the cow from the householders, and then people started depending on these Britishers. So the cow is actually a very important feature of a Vedic society. How many of you have, touched the cow personally?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So have you all experienced when you touch the cow tries to lick your arms? Have you all experienced it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhu.
We have also fed cows, Prabhuji.
So the reason why it, licks your arm is basically, and that's why it is known as mother. What the cow does is basically it will lick the arms. So with the touch of your skin, and the cow, when it licks, the cow will understand what kind of disease, one is going through. And what the cow will do, the cow will know that, this person, when I'm licking, this person is undergoing some diseases. So the cow will go out and, eat a specific type of grass. And then that grass, when he eats, it will produce a medicinal value. Yeah. And then through the form of milk, the cow will produce that milk. And then when that person drinks that milk, that diseases is eradicated. So that's how the caring of cow is, and that's why we call this cow as our mother, because it is a mother who takes care of the child. So similarly, the cow takes care of of every human being. But unfortunately, in today's world, we see what the cow is going through. It is being slaughtered. Because there is being slaughtered, so there is no peace. There is so much of unrest in this place. So wherever there is cow slaughtered, there can never be any peace. So Lord Krishna, as a teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community or the Vaishyas should herd cows and bulls and thus give protection to the valuable animals. So Prabhupada is using the word valuable. So once, one of the disciples asked Prabhupada, which is the best animal? So Prabhupada looked at him and he said, the buffalo. Then he was a bit confused. He said, but Prabhupada, did you not say the cow is one of the best animal? So Prabhupada looked at him and said, no. Because you asked which is the best animal, so I told you is the bull. Is the buffalo. But cow is not an animal. Cow is basically, she's our mother. So if you would have asked who is your best mother, I would have said cow is your best mother. So first of all, we should not consider cow as one of the animals. She's our mother. So when we call someone as our mother, so naturally that affection, respect, all that will come automatically. And this is what we need to establish as part of this institution. ISKCON takes a lot of effort setting up Goshala. Most of the temples, they have Goshala. Mayapur has a very big Goshala. I visited Govardhan Eco Village. So they have a very beautiful Goshala. In fact, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj has instructed all his disciples, especially the brahmacharis within the temple, that everyone should go and brush the cows there. So that's a part of the seva, what one has to do. So whenever, especially people who is living in this part of the world, we don't get an opportunity to interact with the cow so much. But people who are who was staying in India. Yeah, they have such a lovely opportunity. So as much as possible, please take care of the cows. Yeah, please feed them. If you find any stray cows, if you're not able to take care of them personally, try to support the institution which is actually taking care of those cows. So cow is a mother because just as one sucks the breast of one's mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of human society because the father earns for the children just as the bull tills the ground to produce the grain. So very clear distinction of what the bull does and what the cow does. So cow, as we know, she's the mother. Yeah, she takes care of her children very nicely, and we're all dependent on her. And it's not that when the cow stops giving milk, just send her to the slaughterhouse. No. We were in Hungary temple, and we saw that the devotee, one of the devotee was sitting in the Goshala and reading Shrimad Bhagavatam. And we were wondering that, and Prabhu was reading loudly. Generally, when someone is sitting, so they would actually, sit in a silent and they would be reading. But we noticed that, this Prabhu was reading very loudly. And we just went to him and we asked him, Prabhu, can we ask you what is the purpose that you're reading Shrimad Bhagavatam so loudly? So he was mentioning that, there's one of the cow who is about to leave her body. So the benefit of the cow, this Prabhu was reading out Shrimad Bhagavatam very loudly. So they did not treat the cow that, that the job of the cow is finished. She has stopped giving milk. There's no use to us. So let us send her to the slaughterhouse. No, that's not how we have to treat the cow. Yeah. For that matter, any living entity. Yeah. We have no right to kill any animal, be it any living entity. Yeah. We don't have right. We are not brought them into this world, by the so-called power. So we have no power or no right to take away its life also. So the bull similarly takes care of the household by tilling the land. And with the tilling of the land, so what happens? The grains are being produced. So in the olden days, if you all notice, there was nothing like fertilizers were not there. Why fertilizers were not there? Were there no insects? Yeah. Were the grains were not being produced? It was all produced. It was all, in fact, nowadays, when chemicals are not being used, we call it as, super organic or organic, and then we pay almost double the cost for that particular produce. But those days, everything was organic. Yeah, nothing was artificial. So earlier days, when the bull would till the land, so the bull, while tilling the land, the bull will pass the urine, the bull will pass the stool or the cow dung, the dung what it would do, and that the cow dung and the go-mutra that it would pass, that will have an effect of the fertilizer, and that will protect the grains and the produce what it will, and the farmers or the person who is producing, he doesn't have to bother about purchasing a fertilizer and then spraying it on all the grains. So that was not the case earlier in earlier days. If someone happened to visit the Govardhan Eco Village, that Prabhu was explaining this concept, that how they don't use the fertilizer. In fact, what they do is, all the nearby villages, they train them that how to produce how to do an organic farming, because the villagers have got so used to, being dependent on these chemical factories and then buying those chemicals and then, spraying it on the vegetation. So they never knew that, the bull and the cow had all these properties. So now they have started, doing this organic farming. Okay, moving on. So, over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. So now Prabhupada is explaining about the flute that Krishna used to play. Because when he used to play this flute, not only the gopis and the gopas, even the cows would get attracted by the sound of his flute. The sound vibrated by his flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget all the talks of Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalist. So it is said that Krishna had 3 kinds of flutes. So the Krishna would use the one type of flute that Krishna would use was called as a Venu. The other type is Murli, and the third is called Vamsi. So these are the 3 types of flutes that Krishna uses. So if you have to know what are the 3, what is the difference between a Venu, the Murli, and Vamsi? So actually the Venu is very small and it has 6 holes in the flute, while the Murli is about 18 inches and it has a hole at the end and it has only 4 holes. And it is said that it produces quite an enchanting sound, and all this is described in Nectar of Devotion. And the Vamsi flute, it's about 15 inches long with 9 holes in its body, and Krishna would play on these 3 flutes occasionally when they were needed. Now Krishna has a longer Vamsi flute, and while that is called as Mahananda or Samohini, and when it is even more longer, it is called Akarshini, and when it is even more longer, then it is known as Anandini. So it is said that the Anandini flute is very pleasing to the cowherd voice and technically named Vamsuli. So, and these flutes were sometimes decorated with jewels, which is made up of marble and sometimes of the hollow bamboo. So when it is decorated with jewels, it is known as Samohini. And when it is of gold, then it is known as Akarshini. So very explained very in detailed manner in the Nectar of Devotion. So if at all you want to go back, refer it, you can always do that. And that's why in the Brahma Samhita, how Krishna's flute has been glorified. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Barahavatamsam Asitam Buddha Sundarangam Kantarpakoti Kamane Vishesha Sobam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Okay, let's move on with the next sloka. Prayuktan Bhojarajena Maina Kamarupinaha Lilya Vayuna Dattamstan Balaha Kridana Kaniva. Can I request Deepa Mataji to recite the shloka for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Prayuktan Bhojarajena Maina Kamarupina Leelaya Vyanudattam Stan Balakridanakan Iva. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So beautifully you have recited. Can I request Vasudha Mataji to read out the translation for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kamsa, to kill Krishna, but in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, the Lord did all this superhuman activity, when he was in Vrindavana. So the atheist Kamsa wanted to actually kill Krishna just after his birth. Yeah. So he was wondering, so when this fellow is going to take birth, and that's why he had to imprison Devaki and Vasudeva. But he didn't realize, yeah, because he thought Krishna would be just like any normal child, any normal person. And this is the problem with this general atheist. Yeah? They don't realize the power of God. They think they are God, and then they try to make plans. So sometimes, we also tend to do that without giving a due consideration of our capabilities, we try to make plans. We don't even live for 100 years, but we make plan for almost 150, 20 years. Yeah? We don't even know how long we are going to be there in this material world, right? But we have plan. Yeah, that's why we take this life insurance. Yeah, so life insurance guarantees that when you die. Yeah? In fact, the life insurance tells us that we are going to die, but we don't accept. Yeah? And when you die, then this money will be given to your dependents. Now, whether it is going to them, not going to them, we do not know. But with that hope that, okay, dependents will take. And with the hope, first of all, when we take life insurance, we don't take with an intention that, I'm going to die. Yeah, that is not the intention, because no one wants to die. Everyone wants to live in this material world eternally, which is impossible. And that's what Kamsa also thought, that he did not want to die. Yeah, he wanted to live eternally. And the moment he came to know that he is going to die, someone will take birth, and that person is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he is going to take birth and he is going to kill him. Just imagine if we come to know that one person is going to come and going to kill us, what are we going to do? Yeah. So we will make all such arrangement such a way that we are not being killed. So what is the difference between us and Kamsa? Not much, right? The mentality remains the same. Yeah. First of all, why would the Lord come and kill? Yeah. Because he is a burden in this planet. So someone who is a burden in this planet needs to be killed. And if not, so it so happens sometimes that that person should be so fortunate that the Lord comes by himself and then he annihilates. But in our case, that is not going to happen. Yeah, the Lord will not come and kill us. The Lord, in the form of time, will come and kill us. Yeah, so he will come in the form of time, and then it will be in the form of either disease, in the form of old age. Yeah, either of this form. And then finally, we'll be gone. We'll not be here forever. So we need to make our plans, not to make a life insurance plan, but make a plan in such a way that we don't come back here again to be killed again. Yeah. So that should be the aim of life. So he failed to do so, but later on he got information that Krishna was living in Vrindavana at the house of Nanda Maharaj. So later on, he came to know. Now, how he came to know? That was again the arrangement of Krishna. Because if he wouldn't have known, how those many demons wouldn't come? No? Then Krishna would not be able to, do all those pastimes. If those demons, just imagine Krishna just taken birth, but there is no activity. Then what fun you will have? Yeah, there is no fun, right? So Krishna has to show his seed. If he's come in the original personality of God has come in its original form, then we need to see what kind of, first of all, he has to enact his pastimes. So he need to enact his pastime with his devotees. Now, we need to have some change also, isn't it? Every time it cannot be mellow. Sometimes there needs to be action also. So while he would have his pastimes of mellow with the gopis and the gopas, yeah, he would do that. Loving exchanges, he would do that. Yeah, stealing the butter, he will do that. But what about action? What about the fights, which he would do only by inviting all the demons? So what he did, he made an arrangement such a way that Kamsa came to know that he is in Nand Maharaj's house. So Kamsa started sending all type of different demons, which in the translation, it is called as the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks a doll. Yeah, just imagine a child is playing, a 10-year or 5-year child is playing, and if he purchase a demonic doll, a very small doll, the child is not going to get scared. The child is going to break it. So similarly, for Krishna, none of these demons were actually demons. It was just like a small doll. And he was actually playing with them. So all of them appeared before the child Lord in various forms like Aga, Baka, Putana, Sakata, Trinavarta, Denuka, and Gardaba. And they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. So just imagine the doll is coming and trying to kill. Is it possible? Not possible. Yeah. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord as if he were just playing with the dolls. So just imagine Krishna being in Vrindavan, yeah, and all the devotees every day being subjected to all this type of demons, yeah, and they were actually living in anxiety because they were not knowing that what is going to happen. Like just imagine, all of us stay. Just a couple of years back, there used to be so many, bomb blast, across India, isn't it? So, and everywhere you would have posters that, take care of. If you find any baggage, do not touch. There could be a bomb in the bag. So, people were so scared even traveling in trains. People were scared traveling in buses. Of course, that is not the case now, but I'm talking about a few years back. So people were in an anxiety that we don't know if we are stepping out of the house, are we going to come back, alive? We were not knowing because there was few terrorists who were killing people left, right, and center. So in Vrindavana, it was the same thing. They were not knowing that next moment which demon is going to come and attack. But one thing they had for sure, that is, they had immense faith and they were all dependent on Krishna. Though they were not knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they didn't know that he is God. But somehow, yeah, with the arrangement of the Lord himself, they were all dependent on him. Now, they saw personally Krishna lifting the Govardhan, but still, they never treated him as God. They thought, yeah, he's a divine child. He has some powers. Because Krishna did not wanted them to know that he's God. Because the moment they will know that he's God, they'll stop everything and then start worshipping him. Then there will not be a loving exchange. Yeah. That raw and reverence will not be there. Yeah. Then it will be a Vaikuntha Bhav. And Krishna did not want that Vaikuntha Bhav. He wanted the Madhurya Bhav. Because when he's in Madhurya Bhav, then only the loving exchanges will happen. Then all this pastimes wouldn't have taken place. So Krishna wanted that to happen. So that is the condition of Vrindavan. So in Vrindavana, everyone was so dependent on Lord. So despite every day some or the other, demons coming in, and they were actually living in anxiety. So in a way, what we can also understand that don't think that, when the Lord is with us, yeah, there will not be any problems. There will be problems. Yeah. Not that, we have taken into Krishna consciousness. Doesn't mean that you will not get fever, you will not get pain, there won't be accidents, there won't be any reversals in our life. No. All that is going to continue. So, but depending on what degree we are surrendered to the Lord, depending on what level of faith we have, so Krishna will then protect the way Krishna protected the residents of Vrindavana. So whenever this demon you put attack, so similarly, all these problems will keep continue to hinder us. But depending on the degree of surrender what we have, Krishna will protect us. and we take the shelter of the holy name, because Krishna will not come personally in Kali Yuga. Yeah, because we are not that pure. We cannot, even though Lord is present everywhere, but we cannot see. Why? Because we don't have that qualification to see that, to see Lord. So what we do? Very simple method Krishna has given. Yeah, every day 16 rounds. Yeah, just chant. Just sit and chant. Remember the Lord. The Lord is sitting right within the heart. We don't have to go anywhere. Right within the heart, just close the eyes, just concentrate. Just hear the names when we chant. We remain protected. All the other issues will keep happening, will keep coming. Yeah, job problem, financial problem, health problem, family problem, spouse problem, this problem, that problem, dog problem, society problem, politics problem, all that will continue. But our job, our work, our aim, focus should only Krishna consciousness. That's it. So that's how, in the previous sloka, Prabhupada said simple living, high thinking. So as long as we follow that principle, there won't be any complication. So no one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be equal or greater than him, nor can anyone attain the stage of equality. So no one can be God. Yeah, no one can be greater than him. If anyone is greater than that person is called as God. That is not the case. When he was playing just like a child on the lap of his mother, Yashodamai, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continued to remain God with the slightest diminution of his 6 opulence. So he was always with his 6 opulence, yeah, and thus he's unrivaled because he has got 6 opulence, yeah. No one has that 6 opulences. Okay, I think we are running out of time. We have 3 more shlokas to go, so we'll run down quickly. Vipanan vishapanena nirgaya pujagadipam uttapya payayat gavas tattoyam prakriti sthitam. Can I request Sudha Mataji to recite the shloka for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Vipannan vishapanena nigrya bhujagadipam uttapya payayat ghavas tattoyam prakriti sthitam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you, Mataji. Can I request Anita Mataji to read out the translation for us?
Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The inhabitants of Vrindavana were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away, and after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Uddhava is giving this description. So Uddhava and Vidura is discussing this. So they are remembering the Lord of the various pastimes. So this is one of the pastimes where how Kaliya entered river Yamuna. Yeah. So it is said that this black serpent Kaliya, yeah. So it used to live in Yamuna. It somehow came into Yamuna river, and it is said that the whole area got contaminated, and it got so contaminated that the poisonous vapor, yeah, the poisons the vapors would go up in the sky for 24/7. Yeah, it would be that strong and that dangerous. And it is said that even if a bird would pass above the river Yamuna, yeah, and it would immediately die and fall into that water. So, due to the poisonous effects of the Yamuna's vapor, what would happen? The grass and the trees, yeah, which are at the banks of that river, everything got dried up and everything got dead. So, and the whole river was actually deadly. So what Krishna did, so when Krishna came to know that this Kali has taken residence in the Yamuna river, so and then none of there was a drinking, because everyone were dependent on Yamuna river for drinking water. Yeah, so if they would drink water, obviously everyone would die. So again, Krishna had to take care. He had to take charge, and then he had to protect the residents. So what he did, he went up to the Yamuna river, and it is said that there was only one tree, which is the Kadamba tree. I think it is still there. Yeah, and that tree, Krishna climbed on the tree, and then he jumped into the river. So some commentators, they say that because Krishna touched that tree, because of the touch of that Krishna's, because of the touch of Krishna to that tree actually came back to life. Yeah, that is what some commentators mention that. While in some Puranas, it is stated that Garuda, the eternal carrier of Vishnu, so he knew that this pastime is going to take place. So what he did, he had placed some nectar onto that tree. So that's mentioned in, and very beautifully elaborated in the Krishna book. So you all can go back and refer this particular pastime. So it is said that when the Lord jumped, so he climbed the Kadamba tree, and from there he jumped into the river. So it is said that when he jumped into the river started overflowing. Just imagine, I'm sure in some movies, in some old movies, English movies, you would see that there's a meteor which is falling into the ocean, and the whole, the water just comes out, because of the large, gigantic rock that falls. So similarly, when Krishna jumps into this river, the entire river swelled up, and it started pouring outside. It came out from the riverbed. It came out close to about 100 yards. So this shows the strength of Krishna, and it is not common, because he's supreme God. So we need to understand. So he was doing all this super heroic activities. Today, nowadays children, they watch this Superman, Batman, Ant-Man. I don't know, so many. I don't know why they keep this all animal names, and they call that person as hero. But we should make our children read all these pastimes, and make them realize that these are not mythology. These are the real stories, events that has taken place, and then we should make them read the stories, and then we should take them to those places where all this leelas, all these pastimes have taken place. Then they will be able to correlate it properly, rather than the children nowadays, they watch all these movies and then they get so inspired. But what is that super heroic activity compared to the actual super heroic activity that the Lord enacted here? So what Krishna did, Krishna jumped into the river, and then he was actually he started fighting with Kaliya. Now, if Krishna actually did not, Krishna doesn't need to jump into the river, do an activity which a normal person would do. He does that to gain attraction of the devotees. If he would have wished, with just in 1 second he can make Kaliya dead. He doesn't need to do all this. But no, he decided to do this pastime for the pleasure of devotees. So what he did, he jumped, and then so Kaliya saw that there's a small boy who is on my head. So Kaliya with all his hoods, so what the Kaliya did, it with all its head and the tail, it circled the Lord. So when that happened, all the residents of Vrindavana, including Yashoda and Nand Baba, they were so perplexed when they came to know that this is what is happening. And all of a sudden, everywhere there was this bad omen which was taking place. So when they saw, because the sky became dark, when the sky became dark, the birds started, flying everywhere. The dogs started barking. So all that bad omen started coming up. So everyone thought, now this Kali is going to, kill Krishna, and our Lord is gone forever. So when the Lord actually the Lord was enjoying. The Lord was getting a nice massage on his body with the help of Kalia. Yeah. So he was just waiting, and when the Lord realized, no, it is now going one step ahead. If I stay like this for one more second, so all the devotees, out of anxiety, they will die. And especially, Nand Baba and Yashoda Mai. So I don't want that to happen. So then he easily removed, and then what he did, he went over the hood of Kalia, and then he started dancing. The great dance, the Kalia dance, which we all know. And then when he started dancing, Kalia started spewing all the poisons. And finally, after spewing all the poisons, he started spewing the blood also out. And then finally, he was dead. And when he was dead, the Nagapatnis, they came, and then they requested that, please, oh Lord, just forgive him. I remember Sarvabhauma Prabhu saying that, after the Kalia, when the Nagapatnis came and requested that, please let this fellow go. He's an idiot. He didn't know that he was dealing with you. So please let him go. So then finally the Lord blessed Kalia, and he said, no more coming here. There is an ocean, towards which direction? Which direction is Fiji Island? Does anyone know? Is it the west? So right now, Kalia is residing in that Fiji Island. Yeah. So if someone happens to visit Fiji Island, he is still residing there. And this is what Sarvabhauma Prabhu was mentioning. Hare Krishna. So let's get on with the next shloka. Narayani Mataji, I hope I can take 10 minutes extra. Is that okay?
South Pacific Ocean, Prabhuji.
South Pacific Ocean, but which direction it is? Is it south?
South of Pacific Ocean.
It's near
Okay.
Hawaii also. Near Hawaii.
Okay, Mataji. Narayani Mataji, I will be taking 10 minutes extra because we have 3 more shlokas to go.
Yes, Prabhuji. You can carry on, Prabhuji. There's no issue.
Okay. Ayajyad Gosavena Goparajam Dvijottamahe Vitsaya Choru Bharasya Chikirsan Satyayam Vibhuhu. Can I request Divya Mataji to recite this shloka for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Ayachayat Kosavena Goparajam Dvijottamai Vittasya Choru Bharasya Chikirsan Sadyayam Vibhuhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Thank you, Mataji. Can I request Subha Mataji to read out the translation?
Dandavat Pranams. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: The Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows, and also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus he advised his father to perform worship of go, or the pasturing land, and the cows with the help of learned Brahmanas. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhupada, we all know the pastime of Govardhana. Yeah, how Govardhana pastime happened. So, Prabhupada is explaining that Nand Maharaj used to perform yearly worship of Indra, basically demigod worship. Yeah, the king of heaven, with great opulence. This worship of demigod by the general populace is also advised in the Vedic literature, just so people can accept the superior power of the Lord. Yeah. So it is not that one should not worship the demigod. Yeah, one can worship, but we should know the purpose why it is being worshipped. Yeah, but we should also learn we should also read the next sentence, what Prabhupada is saying, that the demigods and servants are servants of the Lord, deputed to look after the management of various activities of universal affair. Therefore, it is advised in the Vedic scripture that one should perform yajnas to appease the demigod. But generally people will get confused that we are advised not to worship the demigod. Then why Prabhupada is mentioning to worship the demigods? So in the next sentence, Prabhupada is mentioning that, but one who is devoted to Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. In one just sentence, very clearly Prabhupada is mentioning, as long as we are worshipping the Supreme Lord, we don't need to worship the demigod. But those who are attracted, those who are attracted to the material opulence, they need to worship. They worship the demigods. That's what Kamsa did, no? So Kamsa was not believing in Krishna. Ravana, so he went to Lord Shiva. So Hiranyakashipu, he went to Brahma. All, asking for more and more and more. So similarly, we don't need to worship demigod. Demigod worship is not required. Demigod worship is only required for material opulence. But there are so many shlokas mentioning and how Krishna tells in the 9th chapter. That's what is the shloka? Yanti deva vrita devan pitra yanti pitra vritaha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mat yajino apipam. So whoever worships the demigod, they'll go to their planet. Depending on whom you're worshipping, you'll go there. But who worships me, that is the Lord is saying, whoever worship me, he will come to me. So it is up to us. What do we want to do? Do we want to go back to demigod and then again come back here, then suffer? Or do we want to go back to the Lord and then stay with him eternally? That's our choice. The Lord doesn't interfere. The Lord gives an option. It is up to us, whichever we want to offer. So Prabhupada is mentioning that, but one who is devoted to the Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. Worship of the demigod by common people is an arrangement for acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. So by doing yajnas, by appeasing the demigod, at least one would know that this is the practice that one needs to do. At least they are one level below. But then, over a period of time, they will realize and then they will start coming up. I'm sure all of us, one point in time, we were all demigod worshippers. I myself was a demigod worshipper. We used to have Ganesha every year in our house, previously, even before coming into Krishna consciousness. Everywhere we would invite the Lord Ganesha in our house. We would to perform puja, we would to perform yajna. And then we would go and immerse the idol in the water. So all that demigod worship, I used to myself perform. And then finally, with the blessings of some devotees, we got connected with Krishna consciousness. So I'm sure each one of us, at one point, at a point in time, all of us were worshipping the demigods. Prabhupada says, but it is not necessary, not required. Such appeasement is generally recommended for material gains only. So if one's objective is to have some material gain, yes. But remember, all material gain, including this body, is all temporary. It's not permanent. Today it will be there, tomorrow it will not be there. As we have already discussed in the second canto of this literature, one who admits the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to worship the secondary demigod. No need to worship. Very clearly, Prabhupada is clarifying the stand, what he has mentioned in the first paragraph. He said, even though I'm saying this, but this is what the stand should be. Sometimes being worshipped and adored by less intelligent living beings, the demigods become puffed up, just like Indra. Because Nand Maharaj was offering all the bhoga, every year, thinking that he's the one who is actually producing rains and he's the one who is keeping us satisfied. So, and therefore he becomes so puffed up with the power and forget the supremacy of the Lord. This happened when Lord Krishna was present in the universe, and thus the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven. So what he did? So he advised Nand Maharaj, no need to appease him. Stop offering all this bhoga. Instead, offer this to Govardhan, because it is the Govardhan which is a pasturing land. Yeah, this Govardhan is giving beautiful, such a nice grass to the cows. Yeah, the cows, they go and graze in Govardhan hill, and because they go and graze, they are producing milk. Yeah, the Govardhan hill produces such nice. They have such a nice fruit bearing trees. So why worship Indra? Do the sea? And he gives an argument that does the sea worship Lord Indra? Yet it pours, right? So with this argument, Nand Maharaj felt, yeah, it's quite logical. The sea never worshipped Lord Indra. Then why it is pouring water there? And therefore, they all went. They offered all the water bhoga was prepared to the Govardhana, and Indra couldn't withstand. He felt insulted. He felt so embarrassed. So what he did, he invited the Samartaka clouds. Yeah. So this Samartaka cloud, it is said that during annihilation, it is the Samartaka cloud which comes in. Yeah. And then it annihilates the entire planet. So he invited them. He said, go and devour the Vrindavana. So it was raining cats and dogs. Yeah. So a few days back, I believe there was a heavy rains, yeah, across India, especially Delhi, Mumbai, and many other places. So these rains are nothing as compared to the rain what Vrindavana witnessed during those times. So the entire Vrindavana submerged. So again, the Lord had to intervene. And what the Lord did? The Lord lifted the Govardhan just in his little left-hand finger. Yeah. And not that he lifted for just few minutes, no. And then, he was so tired. 6 days and 6 nights. 6 days? 7 days, right? So
7 days, Prabhuji.
Yes, 7 days and 7 nights he lifted Govardhan. Yeah. And he gave an opportunity for all the residents of Vrindavana to be with him all the time. And they were all enjoying such a beautiful, time they had together. So this is the most, revered pastimes. As many times as we hear, it feels so fresh. We don't feel, just imagine a normal story which we keep telling, we don't feel like hearing. But this pastime, I'm sure every year, I've been hearing the story for the past, since Krishna consciousness for more than 15 years now. And prior to that also I've heard, but every time I hear, it feels so fresh. Why? Because it is spiritual. Anything which is spiritual never gets stale. Remember this. So the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven, Indra. He therefore asked Maharaj Nanda to stop the sacrifice offered to Indra and use the money properly. So we have to use the money properly. Where? To the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not anywhere else. Yeah. So the perfection of one's occupational duty, whether in the sphere of duty to oneself, one's community, or one's nation, is actually judged by the degree to which the Lord is satisfied. So whatever we may be doing, any activity, but whatever duty we do, depending on to what degree we are satisfying the Lord. Yeah. So that is the level of advancement. That much of advancement we'll have. So any activity that we do, but if that by doing that activity, if the Lord is satisfied, then we will progress in our spiritual life and we will go closer towards the Lord. Okay, next shloka quickly we'll do. It's already 9 o'clock here. Varshatindre vraja kopar bhagna manet tivilaha gotrali Gotra Leela Tapatrena Trato Bhadra Anugrahanta. Can I request Ramakrishna Prabhu to read out the shloka?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Vaddati Pashyatidrendre Vrajaha Kopodpagagnamana Maneti Brahavalah Kotra Leela Tapatrena Tatro Bhadranugrunata.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Can I request Prashanti Mataji to read out the translation for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. O sober Vidura, King Indra, his honor having been insulted, poured water instantly on Vrindavana, and thus the inhabitants of Raja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. But the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from danger with his pastime umbrella, the Govardhana hill. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Indra was so embarrassed and he was so angry, so upset with the residents. Yeah. And he, first of all, just like any demons, he did not see God. Even Brahma, he started questioning when he saw the Lord's activity in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. He was not able to distinguish the Lord with the Gopas. So he thought he's just one insignificant boy. Similarly, even Indra thought that he's just a insignificant boy, and he's challenging my power. He's challenging my existence. So let me show him who I am. Let me show my powers. This is a general demonic mentality which we keep coming across in our day-to-day life. All this atheist, they keep challenging the existence of God. Yeah, who God? I don't believe in God. There is nothing beyond this life. Once we die, it's finished. They don't realize. Someone asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, just imagine after whatever you have done till now, and then you realize there is no Krishna, what will you do? So Prabhupada just sat, he was silent for a while, and then he said, no problem. If I realize that there is no Krishna, no problem. At least we had a good time. We had good association, we had good prasadam, we had a good kirtan, all that, and we had a good life. No problem. Then he asked, just imagine if Krishna is there, then what will happen to you? So why take chance? We are having a good time. We are having a good association. We are leading a pious life. So first of all, that question whether Krishna is there or not there should never ever arise in our mind. The moment that question arises, then we are questioning the authority of this existence. We are questioning the scripture. We are questioning the Acharya, and forget about even the Lord. Lord doesn't care. Yeah. Actually, the Lord wants all of us to go back to him. But if we don't want to go back to him, what can the Lord do? Lord can only Lord will not come down and take us. Yeah. It is said that when we take one step, the Lord will take 10 steps. But if we're not going to take steps at all, how is Lord going to help us? Then Maya will help us. Yeah. Then Maya will start taking steps. And when Maya takes steps, we know the result of it. Yeah. So why take chance? We know we have faith. We believe in the scripture. We believe in our Acharya's word. We believe in Srila Prabhupada. We believe in all this. And then we surrender to the Lord. Yeah. So this demonic mentality, such people will keep hitting in our life. If not people, then situation. Sometimes the situation in the form of people will come and start questioning. Many times it has happened with us. So this is what Indra did. Yeah, King Indra, he started pouring rain left, right, and center, thinking that all the residents will be in distress, and then they will be scared, and then they will go back to him. They will pray, and then he will stop the rains. But he didn't realize that he's actually challenging the Lord himself. So while the Lord was having a good time, so he for 7 days and 7 nights he gathered all the residents of Vrindavan. They were all together, just like a picnic, no? So we all of us enjoy so much. Now few devotees from here, they are now traveling to South. They've gone to South India travel, South India tour. They have been visiting, especially in this Purushottam month. They have been visiting all the beautiful kshetras, and they're all together. And every day they're posting the pictures in the WhatsApp group, and they're all having such a nice time. And we are sitting here, we are feeling so, left out, that we couldn't join them, and we are missing so much. So just imagine all the residents of Vrindavana having picnic time with the Lord himself. Such a blissful of time. Even though there is anxiety, just 1 inch outside, you're dead. But 1 inch inside, you're saved. You're with the Lord. So that was the situation. So in the translation it says, but the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from danger with his pastime umbrella. That is the Govardhan. So Krishna lifted the umbrella. So it is not a normal umbrella, no? Just press a button and the umbrella will open. So Krishna's umbrella is very special. So Krishna made Govardhan hill itself as an umbrella and protected everyone with this incessant rains, protected everyone, and also gave him his personal association to all the residents. Hare Krishna. The last sloka of this particular chapter. Sarachasi karer mristam manayan rajani mukham gayan kala padam reme strinam mandala mandanaha. Can I request Sindhu Mataji to recite the sloka for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarachasi karairmrishtam manayan rajani mukham gayan kalapadam reme srinam mandala mandanaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Can I request Nav Kishore Mataji to read out the translation for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, translation by Srila Prabhupada. In the third session of the year, the Lord enjoyed as the central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, purport is very small. It says, before leaving the land of cows, Vrindavana, the Lord pleased his young girlfriends, the transcendental gopis, in his Rasa Leela pastimes. And then Prabhupada stops. And then Uddhava stopped his description of the Lord's activity. So with this, we will also stop our today's session, because we are already running out of time. And I'm not qualified much enough to speak, especially the Rasa Leela pastime, and that's why Prabhupada is also not described here much. So Hare Krishna, everyone. So if anyone has any comments, any questions, they can ask.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for this wonderful session. Any questions or comments by devotees?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. May I?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhuji. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Prabhuji, when we hear the pastimes of the Lord again and again, we do not get bored. But at the same time, when we narrate the same story to our kids, they are sometimes they say that this I have heard many times. Why are you repeating it again and again? So how can we change their mind, Prabhuji? Like they're not having any.
Very nice question. See, the children's mind is very chanchal, because always restless, because they are growing up. So obviously, their mind is super active, unlike us. So super active, in a sense, now it all depends on what which child we are talking about. Now, I will give an example. Here, we are dealing with almost more than 2,000 children in our yatra. So, and some of the children who have born in Krishna consciousness itself. And while some children, while they were practicing something else, then they came into Krishna consciousness. So, when the children are outside the practice, and then when they come into Krishna consciousness, there is a slight challenge that we need to understand. So obviously it will take some time for them to realize, because washing off something which is there previously and then to give them an act, and especially in today's modern world where the access of media, where the access of information is so easy, it will override whatever we say. Yeah, it will supersede whatever information we are providing verbally, in terms of telling them by story, telling them by all this. So it will take some time. So that's why I strongly recommend that you take them to those places, and then to those, because that places have potency. Yeah? So with that potency, when we narrate the story, it will have an impact. Yeah. So yes, initially that child will show resistance, and don't read out just like reading normal book. No, explain them, enact, and create a situation, just like when we do some drama. So when we do some drama, and when we see, they are actually visualizing, they will picture it, and then they will grab it, and then they will seek attention. So these are the tips that I'm giving you, Mataji. Maybe it may work, it may not work, I'm not sure, but it all depends children to children, how they are. So it also depends on the background, what it is. So some children, it is easy. Yeah. For some children, it will take some time. So there is no fixed formula for that. But one thing, what you said was right. As we keep hearing this pastimes narration, it is always fresh. Yeah. It never gets stale. But, depending on the degree of our surrenderedness, our faith in the Lord. Yeah. So that much of mellow we will start getting. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I'll surely try that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Very nice answer, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Shall we end the session? Okay, Prabhu. We'll do Vaishnava Pranam Mantra and end the session then. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Shall I end the session, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mataji, we can.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam. Pranam to all the devotees.